Oh, hello there. Now, I know I said that I wasn't going to make a video until after my social worker thing tomorrow, but uh, I had a whole bunch of anxiety, and so I was like, I got no place to put this anxiety because physically, not up to doing anything, you know. Nerves wise, I'm like, I feel like a kid again. The night before, I have to make a speech in front of the class, and believe it or not, that used to be terrifying to me speaking in front of people. Hard to imagine. But so uh, I made about an hour video after I took Valium, just waiting for it to kick in because I was having an anxiety attack. And I will be glad when I get used to my new broken up mouth and I can speak more betterly. But I did some work today on that video I was going to make for the mass populace, not for my loyal followers that are probably the 2 dozen or so people that actually watch these on a regular basis, but just benzo based. Even had a title for it. It's like my Xanax story, just the benzos, man. Like the dragnet thing. I mean, I think that little pop culture reference has hung on quite a long time, so in other words, it's just going to be about the benzos, and I'm going to cut it to uh, a half an hour because I made it. It was like 36, 37 minutes. I had no idea myself how involved that story was. Um, and I'm not talking about adding in a bunch of details, I'm talking about subtracting a bunch of details out of it. And, instead of like um, using a bunch of purple passages to describe how I displayed my broken body to the guy in the ER in order to him for him to see the physical devastation that I went through in order to get my first actual legal script of alprazolam slash Xanax. What I said was I went in there and convinced the ER doctor to uh, write my first prescription for Xanax, and then my primary caregiver suddenly that broke the seal and he decided to write for me too, but not knowing anything at all about Xanax, he decided that it'd be a good idea to make me take one every day. Not make me take one every day, but suggest it on the label. So I was already obviously, if I'm going to an ER specifically to score Xanax, I'm already uh, physically dependent. So he just went along with it. So, but anyway, so like I'm saying is like I skipped all that enjoyable nonsense about hornets coming through the ceiling, about neighbors who somehow managed to break your toes while they're in a wheelchair in another room. I explained that to my friend who called, and he got it. He was like, because the landlord went along with what he said and arranged an appointment for a day where the low was 12 and the high was 25. Either that day or a day right next to it. It was really cold. So that caused me to put the heater out there to kick. And the fact that I had to do a bunch of work in here to clear a space for the plumbers since the appointment was already made without my permission, without my knowledge, and made off of another guy's word. Um, I, I had to clear a space, which tired me out, which made me more likely to slip and more likely to kick a heater that never would have been there in the first place. So I told my friend I should go over there and kick him with my good foot. And he laughed and he said, I've seen cripple fights before, but I don't know if I ever seen anything like that because he's a cop for 30 years. But all that delightful nonsense. all the fun of the meth trade and the crackheads and the Olympic TV tosser and all the enjoyable stories. They're just cut out of it, you know. It's just about how I got involved in benzos, uh, at first as a kindly gesture, and then illegally, and then legally, and then how my doctor ended up when I ran short because of an emotional turmoil thing, which is what I called it in the video, but we both know I'm talking about my older sister. In 2017, um, I ran short, went in there in cold turkey, and instead of him giving me my usual 30 and saying just be more careful this time, or go see a psychologist, perhaps, you seem to this is a sign of somebody that's having trouble coping. He just gave me extra dope, you know. He just gave me a bottle of 60 instead of a bottle of 30. And then once he got me good and used to the bottle of 60, then he decided to cut it down with 30. After I had my tolerance up, he decided to give me tolerance withdrawal right before an oral surgery appointment. And hell followed. So that was March 16th when I looked at the script while I was going down in the elevator. We had no conversation about it at all. I just found out by looking at the script and it said 30 instead of 60. And I said, uh-oh. And the next thing I know, I lose 12 pounds and go through 2 weeks of living hell. As you can see, I'm not a small guy, but 12 pounds is a lot to somebody that's built like me. So I went from 185 to 173. So, um, I just tried to, when I was making this thing, I just tried to stick just, keep out all those crazy details that are just so much fun. Um, all the fun stuff. And just stick to the actual benzo stuff. You can't expect people to be clicking on an hour and a half videos. But even leaving out all the details, I'm going to try to cut it to a half an hour. That's what I'm shooting for. But I made it earlier today. While I wasn't eating and while I wasn't I'm under an enormous amount of stress from being trapped inside too long and now having a very important appointment to go to tomorrow. I got a cat meowing at me through the door because he doesn't like his food. Suddenly he doesn't like his food. So please, cat, be quiet. I got a cat meowing at me through the door. I got dogs barking at me through the ceiling. Yeesh. Let me tell my story, cat. And anyway, so I'm looking, I'm working on this. I'm going to make like a mass populace type, like I said, video, like about benzos and about my story and specifically. And I'm going to show my whole chart because I charted it from 5/1/18 till 5/5/19. So I was trying to quit, or I was in withdrawal uh, March 16th to 18th, and then actively charting and trying to quit um, from May 1st till May of the next year, and a whole bunch of stuff all those fun details happened during that time. But the reason why I'm making this is I kind of researched why I quit, and I wasn't about to watch a whole bunch of videos and spend my day doing that. I'm under too much stress to do that, to listen to all them old videos and all those old nasty stories. But it at that particular time, two things happened because it was in May. Um, Sometime around the beginning of the May, the landlord sprayed for roaches upstairs. They had 6 to 8 people living up there. I heard 8 from 3 different people, but there's only one person that was on the lease, and one of them brought in roaches. The landlord does not tell me this. He sprays the place for roaches. Suddenly, I'm overrun with roaches. That happened in May. Before May, of course, for like 2 months or so, I am putting up with um, 2 kids up there that don't belong and a massive amount of noise and stuff. I'm just kind of putting up with it, and then I kind of narc them out, because they could be visiting for all I know. They could be desperate, but 2 months is 2 months. So, I'm like, there's something that triggered that decision for me just to give up. Like, I'm not going to be able to quit Benzo's living here. So that was part of it, was the overrun clown car apartment upstairs, the driving of the roaches into my apartment. I also lost $200 off of my income at the same time. And then later that month, on the exact date of the 27th during Memorial Day weekend, is when I got bed bugs. So I got roaches and bed bugs both in the month of May. And the month of May is when I said, no mas. No mas. So it's like, I'm not trying anymore. It's like, this place is impossible. And, I don't even think I ratted them out. Like, I think the landlord mentioned something about the water bill being spiked, and then I, told him why. And then that was in May, when I think that's when I paid May's rent. And then in June is when he yells, or not yells at me, he scolds me for reacting badly to being sprayed in the face with poison. And then after that, I got open hostility. But I had the last day recorded in my Benzo journal is May 5th of this year. And like, there was a video before that and a video after that, and I watched both of those, and they were quite enough, thank you. And I had just acquired roaches. I did not know yet that, I figured they came from upstairs. I didn't know that they were sprayed down here. I just assumed with that many people up there, somebody brought them in, which they did. Could have been the same deal with the bed bugs too. I happen to know that the woman herself said that one of them was a homeless person. And, what that has, whether they're more likely to bring bugs with them or not, I don't know. But, she had a bunch of people up there. And that is when I was like, I'm done. That's when I threw up my hands. But, yeah, I just talked on here for like an hour and forgot to add this detail to it. So I was like, man, screw that thing that I made. Maybe I'll throw that up for another day or whatever. This is what I was thinking about. Is like, why exactly? At what point? What made me just stop trying? Because I tried from March of 2018 until May of 2019. Because the idea was already in my head in February from watching videos on YouTube that I need to get off of this shit. Because I had already tasted withdrawal and I already knew what it was about, and I didn't like being physically dependent, and I didn't like being at the mercy of the medical community. And I heard too many stories on here about people being just dropped off. And then I had sort of experienced it myself, which I had forgotten, because my aunt, they just went from giving her, they dropped her off quick. So by dropping her off quick, they dropped me off quick. And I forgot a whole bunch of details that will be in the Benzo video. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna put that other thing up until some other day. But it's just me freaking out. It's just me having a huge anxiety attack. Um, I mean, I just don't. If I had a physical outlet, I think I might even go risk lifting some weights or something. Maybe chase the cat outside. I don't know. Um, Even now that I took the 10 milligrams of Valium like over an hour ago, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but I'm still a bundle of nerves, and it's like it's just from being stuck inside for too long and having no place to go. And I believe I said in the other video, it's like maybe I should just take that motor scooter out for a spin in the cold every so often. And maybe instead of trying to make that ridiculous turn with the motor, I can get out and I can manually lift it up and line it up, because I keep smashing it, the ramp and the scooter, trying to make that turn because it's such a tight turn on the ramp. It's made for wheelchairs. It's not made for no motor scooters or crippled people scooters or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, so that's the point of this one. It's like, from what I can discern, the reason why I threw up my hands was because there was 6 to 8 people living up there for quite some time, with 2 kids, with Stampy. No dog though. And roaches came down here. I found out that the landlord did not bother to tell me that they had roaches. And then they just appeared in here. And I was overrun with them because they sprayed for them with poison. And then later that month, I also got bedbugs. So, but that was 3 weeks after I had quit charting. So I think the roaches thing was when I quit charting. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, was the clown car where the roaches popped out. I think that was finally it. And then having the landlord tell me, well, I like to keep everyone's business separate. Because, she didn't want me. He thinks he's going to keep peace in the building somehow. Because, she, if he doesn't tell me that she has roaches, and then, the roaches come down here, I'm not going to go up and yell at her and cause trouble. Like, does the man even know me? I mean, does he pay any attention to me at all? That is not my style. I have to be provoked, and provoked severely, to behave in such a fashion. So, I think all of that was when, from what I could, I didn't want to run through and watch all those damn videos, man. Relive all that, waste my time doing that, when I can waste my time worrying about my appointment tomorrow and how it's going to go. But anyways, that's just, yeah, that's just the way that went down, I believe. It's like the suddenly being overwhelmed with roaches, and then finding out why, and then having to put up with just a whole shitload of people, and not wanting to get involved in it. I always got to be wary of my temper. It's like, people don't want to break. You don't want to break bad with me. It's like, I am not a badass. Obviously, I'm a cripple, but I still got that damn temper from when I was younger. And so I do not like confrontation. I do not like what the hell, man? How many people you got living up here anyway? So, but now there's people living up there illegally. They're not running up the water bill. They're kind of laying low. They're not taking too many showers, I can tell you that much. Because of the puffy, the old crack bowls. And yeah, that's about it. That's about all I'm gonna say. I mean, um, I don't know if you would feel like I was inflicting that upon you or whatever. I mean, if that hour of me just like, ugh, you know, and I'll put that up some other time and then date it, as the night before. Um, but man, did it remind me of being a kid, and I still feel that to the volume. I still feel that. I took my third dose of Valium today, and I'm going to take a fourth dose. I'm supposed to take 3 doses a day. That's what it says on the thing, but I have a couple of extras. I'm gonna do that here shortly, and hopefully get some sleep. I think I got to move around before that, and I think I'm gonna go see what the meowing cat wants, and lift some weights and leave you to it. So, wish me luck for tomorrow, and keep a good thought for me. Thank if you would, and adios until next time.